But out of courtesy, since it happening in the city, the minister or the officials of the ministry who had interacted with other agency, I was made to understand, should have consulted with the mayor city council.
That was the mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj Narine, recently bemoaning what he termed to be a lack of government consultation on matters relating to the development of the city. While the specific interview was focused on the government's failure to inform him about the seawall beautification project, the mayor has been accusing the government of undermining the city council since its ascent to office in August 2020. Against this backdrop, Mayor Narine is once again in the public domain, calling out the government who he says completely omitted the city council from its current cleanup exercise in the city. These allegations were made by the mayor on Friday during a virtual press conference.
The exercise demonstrates the PPP continued efforts to undercut and ignore the local government councils in our towns and villages.
President Irfan Ali announced on December 23, 2021, that the government, inclusive of the police and soldiers along with the private sector, will undertake a massive cleanup of the capital city, Georgetown, early in the new year. As such, this exercise began on Friday morning at Drury Lane, Camerville. But even as the city receives a facelift, the mayor is of the view that the government has no interest in democracy.
The PNCR calls on government to respect the authority and mandates of the elected local government councils and to provide them with the adequate funding and other resources.
He claims the government aims to undermine the APNU-AFC controlled councils so that they can remove them and appoint interim management committees. However, he says that will not be allowed to happen. He made a call to all APNU-led local councils in towns and villages to reject the cleanup exercise, citing that to do otherwise would be to encourage the PPP to further disrespect and undermine their authority and mandates. Not only is the mayor dissatisfied with the government's failure to inform him about the cleanup exercise, he also expressed disappointment that the government is utilizing the joint service in its cleanup campaign.
It is also important to note that while crime is on the rise, the PPPC is utilizing policemen and soldiers to clean up the city at the expense of them fighting crime to enforcing the law, which are their legitimate functions.
Dubbing it to be an unwarranted misuse of the joint services, he opined that the government should have hired residents and small informal coups to undertake all works to ensure that a permanent workforce is established to conduct cleanup exercises on a routine basis. The move by the government to utilize the joint services in its cleanup campaign was also criticized by former President David Granger a week ago during his public interest show.
Are we prepared, really prepared, to defend our border, to deploy the GDF to the 800 kilometers between Guyana and Venezuela? Or are we really serious about sending the GDF to collect garbage in Georgetown?
For the HTP Nightly News, Kendell Richmond.